Heyo, I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. We're back again with another action figure review. In this episode, we're taking a look at the Masters of the Universe Origins line. This is Mer-Man. Mer-Man is one of those figures that I have very fond memories of from my childhood. The figure itself, the character, never quite looked like he did on the cartoons, and that never really bothered me. I actually ended up preferring the look of the original vintage figure over the cartoon look. For whatever reason, it just kind of stuck with me, I guess. So it's nice to kind of get that same feel with this figure here. So very cool looking. It does come on a standard Origins packaging here. Nice throwback retro vibe here from the original Masters of the Universe line. Does have the new for 21 tag and the modern posing retro play. This figure looks really awesome in the package as well, so I do like that a lot. Flipping it over to the back here, we have some more characters in this particular wave. The action features here: fit sword of Rakesh in his hand, twist into powerful battle positions. And we get some new cool artwork here. Let me see if we can focus on that for just a moment. Very cool looking. I love Mer-Man swimming around there, and we got some cool stuff going on in there. So very, very cool looking. Again, I really have always liked Mer-Man as a character. The original vintage figure was one of my go-to figures, I guess, back in my youth. So I'm anxious to get into this guy, so we're just going to dive right into it. I'm not using an X-Acto knife this time. I'm just going to tear into it. There we go. We do have the comic book that comes in there. Pop the figure out, and we can get rid of the packaging here. Alrighty, here we do have the accessory kit here and two of these clear rubber bands that we're going to slice off. And then the accessory pack is just taped in there. So we'll pull that off the tape and throw the tape away. It gets sticky. And then Mer-Man should lift right out of the pack, more or less. We got some rubber bands hanging on here, so let's get rid of them. And I think that's got it. There we go. We'll throw this to the side as well, and let's take a look at Mer-Man here. Piece of tape holding the sword or accessory pack shut. So let's just cut that real quick. Unfold that and get in here, hopefully at some point, to the sword. Very, very nice looking. Throw that to the side as well. And that's pretty much what we get. Not a lot of accessories. Single sword, but we get cool Mer-Man and a cool comic. So let me zoom in here a little bit closer. Something like this will probably work. Adjust this just a hair. I can live with that. Can you quit moving, camera? All right. So the comic itself is the same comic we've got in previous figures here. So this is Dimensional Doom. Nice artwork. The back shows the characters from this particular wave. We get some awesome sea battle monster thing here going on. There is Mer-Man right there in all his glory. More artwork, really cool stuff with Skeletor and He-Man fighting it out. There's Zodak popping in. More cool battle scenes. There's Roboto making a quick appearance. She-Ra's down there. Yeah, very, very cool. So we're going to toss that to the side, stick it with our other sets of comics that we got piling up over there, and let's take a look at the figure. The Sword of Rakesh is Mer-Man's weapon of choice here, and I want to try to dial the light down just a little bit so we can see a little bit better here. It very much reminds me a lot of the original vintage sword. It's kind of that corn on the cob kind of looking sword, but it's more of a fossilized coral sword or something like that. But they put some decent detail in here. We can keep it focused. A little bit of detail, not a whole lot, but nice kind of bone handle here. Kind of an odd cross piece there, but it's kind of the way the original one went. It fits in his hand. I mean, he's got kind of a larger hilt, so let's see how well this works. Still fits in his hand really well. If anything, it still looks a little short, but not too bad. Grips it pretty easily. It is, again, a little bit big, so it kind of sticks out a little bit there at the bottom if you get real nitpicky, but not too bad. You can also switch it over to the other side, and he can grip it by just kind of sticking his fingers through that crazy, whatever you call that thing. So he can hold it in both hands. That's very nice. Very cool. If you pop that out, you can also slide it into his back, kind of like we do for He-Man's sword. Works pretty well. This one, the armor is actually fairly loose, so it allows you to sit that in there very easily. But yeah, so cool accessory. Let's move on to Mer-Man himself here. Nice looking figure. For whatever reason, it looks a little bit weird here on like the shoulder. I don't know how well that shows up, but it's kind of got kind of a chalky-ish or rough texture here. I don't know if that's because he's Mer-Man or just because this one figure maybe just didn't quite come through quality control quite as well. But some rough texture like on his bicep right there, and his shoulder joint there, and his other shoulder joint is kind of rough too. A little bit of weirdness down here on his leg. Again, I don't know how well that shows up on the screen, and I shouldn't really be nitpicking that stuff, but I kind of am. So, looking at the rest of him, it looks fine. Detail-wise, the head sculpt looks really awesome. It definitely has that same vibe from the original vintage figure. Dial the camera light just a little bit up. Very, very nice looking. And again, I really like this head. I think they're supposed to be coming out with the more cartoonish looking version, or the cross-cell art version of the head as the Lords of Power exclusive version. If I can ever get a hold of that, we'll look at that as well. But this one looks really awesome. Really awesome details. Very cool. I'm glad to see that particular head, because that becomes Stinkor's head too, and I always love Stinkor as well. The actual armor itself looks really awesome. We kind of have a little bit more detail in this armor than the original vintage one did, which I'm kind of digging. It's, I don't know, it looks a little small on him, but not too terribly bad. He does have that cool center fin belt emblem thing there. The green belt underneath. The rest of him looks really cool. Nice detail. We saw the same foot being used with Skeletor, so it's no surprise there. But the green pops really well and lets you see a lot of that detail in the sculpting there. Again, with his foot as well. Lots of detail in there. So lots to see. The rest of the figure looks really awesome. I mean, they did a really good job with the sculpting on the actual figure itself. It's the same buck we've seen with most of the rest of the figures, so no surprise there. But I am pretty impressed with the way this figure looks here. It works pretty well. The armor does come off if you want to. You can just kind of pop that off. Yank those apart very easily for the most part. I say is that, and then it doesn't want to come off. Fiddle around with it a little bit and it'll just pop off. Well, it should just pop off. It's being silly. and doesn't want to really behave. So there we go. Pops off fairly easily for the most part. Then you can just kind of lock it back in place. If you think it's a little loose like I currently do, you can always tighten those straps down. There are technically 3 notches there. Let's grab the other side and pull that up and see if that does anything for it. There we go. That definitely tightens it up and keeps it from being quite so loose, so I think that I like that a little bit better. Still plenty of room there to, well, it does limit how much of the sword you can stick in his back. It does have a tendency to pop loose that little anchor joint there, that little peg thing, but whatever. There's a trade-off, I suppose. Let's look at articulation real quick. It's the same as the rest of the figures we've seen, so it should not be any surprise here, but let's just take a look here. The head does spin 360 degrees. I don't know if I showed you the detail in the back of this, but it, I guess it kind of looks like hair, but I don't really think it's hair, but it kind of can be. But very nice. The vintage figure had the same kind of look there, so very cool though. Anyways, 360 degrees. We've got plenty of up and down motion, side to side motion there. Very, very nice. Standard ball and swivel at the shoulder joint. The armor does not get in the way whatsoever. He does suffer from the same issue we've seen in other figures in that he wants to bend in as you rotate up. But luckily this one you can just pop out. I don't think the rest of them have had that luxury. So I don't know if that's a running change in something or just figure is just a little bit looser, but interesting. Still, 360, swivel, out about that far, etc., etc. We got a swivel and a rocker here at the elbow. So bend and twist all the way around. Swivel and a rocker at the wrist. Very cool. Standard twist at the waist. Standard plastic T-hooky things here at the hip joints. So he can go kick, excuse me, forward about that much, backward about that much. You can also kind of loosen it up and get it to twirl back around to go much farther. We got a standard ball and swivel here at the knee joint. And again, we've had some issues in the past with some of these knee joints with this weird cover. But on Mer-Man here, it doesn't look bad at all. So it's either growing on me or they've reduced it a little bit. But it looks really nice. It's not distracting at all on this figure. So I like that. Standard swivel at the top of the boot. Rocker swivelly thing here at the ankle joint. And we do have foot pegs. So that is very awesome. So all in all, this is really a cool figure. Again, I am a little biased in that Mer-Man has always been one of those go-to figures for me, and I am not disappointed in this figure at all. Again, maybe a little quality control on the roughness, the smoothness factor on his arms and legs a little bit, but nothing too bad, to be honest with you, so I'm not too awful worried about that. Sword, yeah, it's a little short. I could stand it to be a little bit longer. I think maybe the Classics version kind of spoilt me a little bit on some of these accessories. So taking this figure for what it is, yeah, it's still an awesome figure. He can still do battle with He-Man. He can fight Skeletor if you want to, fight Beast-Man, whoever you want. Yeah, it's just a cool looking figure here, and I'm fairly impressed with it, and I'm really digging it. So, unfortunately, this one is also one of those weird ones that you may not be able to find on store shelves too easily. I got lucky and I was able to pick it up along with the other figures from the wave at Target. So these things go in and out of stock. You may have to check some of the other online retailers. I know Big Bad Toy Store is a pretty good place to go to if you're looking. these things sell out of stock pretty easily, so it is kind of hard to find them in stock somewhere. Walmart online also sometimes has them. You sometimes check Amazon. They sometimes have them. Standard price of about $15. So for that, I mean, that's about an average price figure nowadays. I would like to have seen these things come in around the $10 mark, but still, I'm not upset at the $15 price point. Much more than that, and it starts losing value, but still, Mer-Man is a cool figure. I'm really excited about having him in the collection, so take that for what it is. That's my opinion anyways. That's all the time we've got for today, so thanks for watching as always. Drop some comments down below. Let us all know what you think about Mer-Man. How does he compare with some of the other figures in the collection, the Origins line? How does he compare with other figures in the particular wave he's in? That's the one with Zodak and Roboto and She-Ra, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, She-Ra and Roboto and Zodak and Mer-Man make up this wave. So, anyways, drop those comments down below. If you want to know anything else, let me know those in the comments as well. Whatever's on your mind. How does this Mer-Man figure compare with the rest of the Mer-Man figures we've seen, in your opinion? And what do you think about this particular head? Are you excited to have the original vintage head? Or are you more inclined to want the cartoon version or the cross-cell art version? You know, which one is your favorite? Let me know that in the comment section as well. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I try to do videos once or twice a week, sometimes more often, sometimes less often. But if you got anything you want to see in future episodes, drop a comment and let me know, and I'll do my best to get it out in front of y'all. And I guess that's it. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Like, share, subscribe. And until next time.